Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per detail.
I've got a lot of grandbabies, like a lot. And when it comes to finding a gift for each of them, you know, it could add up. But this year, while I was making my way through Walmart, I realized I don't have to spend a lot to get the gifts they'll love.
An OPI mini mani set. I'm gonna do so much nail art.
Oh, yeah! A Lego set. My own Walla water bottle.
Ooh, and that's just half of them.
Shop great gifts they're sure to love for $25 and under at Walmart.
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation. Last episode, we got to hear from Andrew Jones and spoke about his resilience, his uphill climb to where he is, and of course, where he is going. It was a great discussion, and we look forward to talking again on another episode. Thank you, Andrew, for being on, and keep us posted on your ventures in the future. This episode, we'll switch gears a little bit. We can go to a coaching series. For this coaching show, I reached out to a young man I served with. We chewed the same dirt in Kandahar, Afghanistan. I heard about his coaching on the intramural teams when I was first getting into the unit. I also reached out to another young man who was a Marine Corps veteran that I had the honor of crossing paths with after my time in the military. Both of this made me think of a time back in the early 90s when I went back to my elementary school to coach flag football. My older brother and me went to St. John's and we built a team. We would practice in the cafeteria/gym and then across the street at Public School 31. The school had the biggest yard associated with it, so there was plenty of room to run plays and get some good conditioning. The principal of the school, Sister Elizabeth Francis, would check on our progress from time to time and make sure things were going well. My first interactions with Sister Elizabeth came in the 1980s as a student. In 5th grade, she was our final fill-in for our homeroom. Immediately, she whipped us into shape. She had a brass ruler, which was used for discipline, so we all learned to walk the straight and narrow with her. She turned our year completely around. For the next 2 grades, we took some chances not having her in our classroom. Many of us would get out of line and take the easy way wrong over the hard right. This came to an abrupt halt when we went to 8th grade, and she was our homeroom teacher again. Now we thought we were big bad 8th graders, and it took a few brass ruler sightings to slow us down. When we graduated, I knew I would never interact with her again, so I breathed a huge sigh of relief. Little did I know, less than a decade later, I'd be right in front of her again. We eventually took this football team from 0 to hero and won the city championship. For our efforts, we were awarded with coaching the girls volleyball team. How hard could that be? Well, some 30 years later, I still can't watch volleyball without twitching. We went in with zero knowledge of the rules of the game. I do not remember if we even won a single game at all. I do remember lots of chatter and giggling and challenges. It was another 10 years or so later before I would coach again. I took the reins of my daughter's soccer team and her basketball team. It was like I never stepped away from coaching. As I walked the sidelines and watched games, I made moves like I never left. It was something I truly loved doing. In my after Army life, I had 2 positions. One was fellowship program specialist, and my current as a training integrator. In my first, I met many global war and terrorism veterans as they went through the minefield that we call transition. In one class, I met a Marine Corps vet who was always upbeat and ready to help anyone. I followed him as he not only did our program, he was also coaching high school football, volunteering with Team Red, White, and Blue. He was deploying with Team Rubicon and constantly helping others. His name is Terrence Gann. He is part of this Misfit Nation and my brother. So without further ado, let's get him on. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, man. You staying busy, I guess, since the season's still going or just ending?
Yeah, it's real busy.
So you guys going to do a fall season as well after this? So you got like 0 break?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if I can go outside.
All right.
Get the better service in the house.
I'm going to go in the corner of my house away from my dogs. So you guys, you did spring season. Are you going to do a fall season as well?
So, yeah, we're going to turn around and do a fall season. We get 4 weeks off, and then we're back at it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the conditioning part should be easy. I mean, we still got to get the kids in shape.
Right.
Because literally we were doing like basic conditioning, and then 2 weeks later they were like, hey, you're playing.
Have at it, huh?
Yeah.
That's outstanding. All right, so I don't want to take a lot of your time, so we'll get this thing going. We'll take a little pause here, and I'll welcome you on and get this going, all right?
Okay, good to go.
All right. Let's welcome into the Misfit Nation Terrence Gant, Marine Corps veteran, service-minded individual. I met him as a fellow with Mission Continues. He then went to do service for Team Rubicon. He got to deploy with them in all kinds of disaster situations. And now he's a football coach for Santiago High School in Corona, California. How you doing, Terrence?
Hey, how's it going? Not too bad.
Good. How's the weather out there?
Nice and sunny.
Sunny's not bad.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit of your story from as far back as you want to, through your connection to service, and how you wound up where you are today.
Well, to start it, served in the Marine Corps, was medically retired in 2010. I got out May 2010. My oldest son was in middle school, and he wanted me to coach him, in football. So, I started coaching high school football January of 2011. And, kind of some things started happening. I didn't know what was going on, but I was drinking a lot, not sleeping, having nightmares. And pretty much, I went to the VA and, PTSD and, different things of that nature, depression. And I got a call from a buddy, told me to check out this program called Save a Warrior. And, I listened to the guy spiel about it and, and I was kind of like, I don't need no help. I'm good. And, things just kept getting worse. Ended up losing my marriage. My relationship with my kids was destroyed. I was pretty much I was killing myself. And so I went out to the program. It was out here in Malibu, California it was like a 6-day program. And, it really opened my eyes. And one of the big things they talk about in the program is, being in service to others. So literally when I, got out of that program, that's when I found the Mission Continues, ended up getting the fellowship. Through that, I met people from Team Rubicon, ended up, working with them for a couple of years. And then I kind of got the coaching itch again. So I got back into coaching after, 2 years off. And I've been going, full stream here for the last 3 years here in California.
Nice. Seems like you like the defense side of the ball. The defensive coordinator, and then now linebackers coach. Now, is that your goal is to stay on defense, or I know in some aspect you want to become a head coach at some point?
I mean, I like the defensive side of the ball. I've been on the offensive side. It's just I played defense in high school and college, and it comes natural, and I like it. No aspirations to be a head coach, especially at the high school level. 0.
Okay.
Because a lot of those guys, they don't get to coach.
Right.
They're dealing with parents and administrators and boosters and, and with the kids. So yeah, no desires to be a head coach. I'm happy where I'm at right now, and whatever happens after that happens.
Okay. I mean, that's the best way to look at it. If you're happy, that's what makes everything go right. Once you're not happy no more, and it's no longer fun, and you want to have to find something else, and that's when it gets miserable. So,
oh yeah.
We kind of knocked out the next two kind of questions were kind of lined into your service and stuff. Where Save a Warrior kind of led you into your passion for service. Do you still do any work with Save a Warrior, like to help others, mentor, or anything?
I've shepherded a couple of times. It's where you go back as kind of like a instructor, mentor. I'm active on their Facebook page. It's hard to shepherd now because it's a 6-day commitment and it's during the week.
Right.
So if last summer I tried to jump in and get one in, but unfortunately they didn't have anything because of COVID. But hopefully I can get back in it because now they've got a center of excellence in Ohio. So now they're doing East Coast and West Coast. Where when I went through in 2016, it was just West Coast. So It's definitely gotten bigger, and better.
Yeah, so it's definitely growing, which shows it's working if it's growing like that, since it's actually split now in 2 regions and able to help a more diverse group of veterans, and not have to pay as much to travel in places.
Yeah,
so that'll help them out. So we know that you said your oldest son kind of gave you the itch to coach when he was in middle school. Then you took a couple of years off. You got back in high school. Then you did a program with was it the pros that you did a program with, a soldier or military coaching thing?
Yeah, so Soldiers to Sidelines, I got in contact with them. I think it was on Twitter. Somebody was telling me about it. And they're like, oh, you got to do their it was virtual because it was supposed to be in person in Georgetown, but because of COVID, it, got shut down. And went through their certification process virtually. And then they had follow-on, which was their developmental program, which literally took me like 6 months to finish it. But it was like more in depth, like transformational coaching, not transactional coaching, how to engage your players, how to inspire players. It was more of the relationship building part of coaching versus, X's and O's and, how do you do drills and stuff like that. And it was really interesting. So pretty involved with them now, helping get soldiers or veterans that want to get into coaching, help them get on their way to get into the networking part of it.
Awesome. Man, I seen you did that. That's pretty awesome a program to have there. And then my next question was going to be, have you recommend them to other veterans? And you already answered that. So it's like you're reading my mind here. It's pretty good. It's like we don't have to break and talking to each other in a couple of years.
Yeah, I know.
So since you became a coach, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment since you started your career?
I mean, that first group of kids that we had when I was at Tempe High School, they'll always be like the biggest accomplishment, because when we took that program over, the first year they were 0-10, then we were 1-9, and then we started making strides. We hit 6-4, and that group went on their senior year. They went to they lost in the semifinals of the state playoffs. So to take that group of kids from where we were when we got there to where they graduated at, I mean, it was pretty amazing. And then just to see those kids graduate, because like the first 2 years, that was like our biggest goal was like get the graduation rate up. And, once we got that up and then the kids started buying into what we were talking about, from a football standpoint, the pieces started coming together.
How bad was the graduation rate before you guys got in with these young men?
It was pretty bad. I want to say the first year out of the 50, we had about 10, 15 seniors, maybe like 5 graduated.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, the graduation rate was bad. And then, from a football standpoint, we couldn't get kids into colleges because they didn't have the grades. So it was like a full overhaul of that entire, like the program, the morale, the school spirit. I mean, we had to build all of that because it was just that bad.
Wow. And is that something you have continued to do in your next 2 stops or 3 stops?
Not having to build so much. Like the program I'm in now, it's a pretty good program. I mean, it's a football friendly community. I want to say there's 4 high schools here in the city of about, 200,000, 300,000 people. And each team, except for one school, has like 100-man rosters.
Wow.
So you don't really have to sell football here. It sells itself. So.
And I've seen your picture of your, I guess this is your senior pictures, your linebackers. You have a crew of 5 outside linebackers that are graduating right there, and most of them are pretty big boys. There's only 2 smaller sized dudes there. So that's probably a pretty good squad right there.
Yeah, they were good. Good kids. I had them since they were sophomores.
Okay.
So it's kind of sad to watch them leave because that's the group that I've had the longest.
Right.
And just to watch them grow and mature has been a real treat. And then number 4 in that picture, he's heading off to Arizona State just to go to school. Number 5. He might either sign with Mayville State or there's another D3 school he may go to, and he's going to play football. And then 99, he's in the what do they call it, Explorers program. So he's going to a Cal State school to become a firefighter. And then Evan, he's just working. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
He's one of the hard workers.
Yeah.
He figures if he had to go to high school, he had to hit somebody, might as well play football. I mean, that's awesome. And even just be able to rattle off what they're doing shows that you care about them and you have their best interests at heart. And it's not just about the ball; it's about the life.
Oh yeah, definitely try to build relationships. One of the big things I did when I first got here, that first year I was coaching here, is like I invited them all over to the house. Smoked some brisket and, made baked beans and macaroni and cheese. And we just sat and, kind of just to see me, not just as Coach Gant, the guy that's, constantly riding you like a slave driver, but I'm a human being and, I'm a person too.
Yeah, see the human side of you, not just a robot on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's awesome to let them into that part of your life and see that you are really a human and share some of your family with them. So that's something they can go back and say, now that's how I want to do things when I get in that position, or if I get in that position.
Yeah.
Or that's what I'm going to look for in a college coach if I ever get to that level.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It builds all about the relationships.
Definitely. So, throughout your life, who has been your top 3 mentors, and what was the best advice they provided you?
Oof. All right, that's tough. I got to narrow it down to 3.
Yeah, I'd like to make it hard.
I'm getting up there in age. I mean,
I think we all are.
I'd have to say probably one was probably the first sergeant I had when I got in the Marine Corps, Tyrone Humphrey. Hated the guy when I was under him, but a lot of the things that he instilled and taught, not just me as a Marine, as a man, but as a black man in the military, his words always stuck with me. And the best thing he ever told me, he was like, nobody will take care of you better than you. When you start waiting for other people to make things happen for you, you're going to be sitting there waiting. You got to make it happen for yourself. And then obviously my second had to be Jake Clark, the founder of Save a Warrior. Without that guy and his program, no telling where I could be right now. I mean, I probably wouldn't even be alive.
Right.
And, and still here it is 5 years later, and we still have conversations, whether it be Facebook Messenger, text message. That guy's still there in my corner. And that helps to have guys like that in your life, especially another man like that in your life.
Definitely.
And then third, if I was to go the football route, I'd have to go Brian Walker, who was, he was, and when I was in high school, I was a freshman, he was a senior, and he was my mentor. And then he, when he got the head coaching job, he hired me, and just to see that guy's humility, sacrifice, and dedication, to something bigger than himself, which was that football program and that school and those kids, kind of set the path of how I wanted to coach. It was never about him. It was always about them. And, he epitomized that mentality of family, forget about me. It's all about, I love you. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's all about the you.
Yeah. So if I had to go three, those would be the three.
Those top three, right? It's good top three right there. A lot of people would never give their first sergeant in the military their kudos. That's awesome.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, he was always on me, and it was funny when he left. We kind of had a sidebar at his little, going away, and he was like, "Hey, the reason I rode you the way I rode you was because I was in the Marine Corps infantry, not a lot of African Americans in the infantry to begin with, and he was like, you got to stand out." He's like, the things I've seen in the 20 years I've been in is either they're really good or they're really bad. He's like, there's never an in between. He's like, so you need to be really good, and that kind of just always stuck with me.
I mean, that's great advice. If you do your best wherever you are, that's what they remember you for. Once you make a mistake, that's what they remember you for. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we talked about Save a Warrior and Mission Continues, of course, and Team Rubicon. Are there any other organizations that have helped you be on the right glide path you are now?
Team Red, White, and Blue played a huge part. Actually, they were kind of like the first one I really ever got involved with. Because coming out of depression and things like that, I'd probably say I was about 280 pounds, and, I seen this group of people, running by the lake, and I'm like, who are these dudes with these red shirts on? And kind of got involved with them, and they got the ball rolling. And, once you meet one and you come involved, you start meeting all the people from the other organizations. And, I met the Mission Continue guys, and, ran into Team Rubicon, and, the Wounded Warrior Project, and, Save a Warrior, and the Sparta Project. And you just keep meeting all these, different organizations. And you're like, wow. I mean, like at one point I was the state administrator for Team Rubicon in Arizona. I was the Veterans Engagement Director for Team RWB. And then I was on my fellowship with the Mission Continues. So,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember how busy you were.
So, I mean, it was like some days it was like, man, I was like, what do I got today? How many different things, I'm doing today? Because I was doing, I was a mentor at Veterans Court for Phoenix, Mesa, Tempe, Chandler, Scottsdale. I would do that with Team RWB. I'd have to engage, with different things, being the state administrator for Team Rubicon. I was engaging with, the guys from FEMA, engaging with the emergency management teams. So, I mean, it was like every day there was something. And then I was traveling with Team Rubicon where, I'd be gone, 2-3 times a month for, weeks on end.
Yeah, I think the last time I ran into you was in Houston after Hurricane Harvey with Team Rubicon down there.
Yeah. I was out there.
You were there working on the top floor there with them, doing all the planning. I think you guys were still mucking stuff out at that time.
We were mucking, and I was actually running because we were collaborating with Samaritan Purse, and we were doing the mold remediation in the homes because once you mucked it out, the next step was how do we get these people back in their homes, and that was the next step. Right. So I was the project manager for that. Just coming up with different, less expensive ways to get it done, and get it done more efficiently and effective with spending the least amount of donor dollars. So
right. A lot of those homes you guys looked in probably flooded more than one time over the last decade, probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
They can't afford anything else, so they keep going back to that same spot. So you guys were like a godsend to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good times.
So if you can give a young buck some advice as they decide to take that leap to become a coach, what would you tell them? You there?
For young guys become a coach is, I'm here. I would say just be a sponge. You're going to meet guys that do it the right way. You're going to meet guys that do it the wrong way. Take what you like from different people, and make it yours. Like we tell, we make fun of each other, as coaches all the time, as none of us invented any of this stuff. We just steal what we like.
No sense reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. Exactly. And just be humble. Remember, it's not about you. It's about the kids. It's about the program. It's about building relationships, and most importantly, it's about preparing these young men to be men in society and for them to be productive. And the game of football teaches all that stuff: hard work, work ethic, dedication, commitment. Loving your teammate, working hard for your teammate. Don't embarrass the name on the front of the jersey. Protect the brand.
That's great advice right there. You put those colors on, you got to be proud of it and make like it's your home, and show that pride when you go on the field of battle, and when you come off the field of battle. Also make the same moves when you go out with your friends. You're still representing that same color until you graduate. All right, so if you had to do the whole thing over again from joining the Marines on through, would you change anything?
I would say no. Like I tell the kids, everything that's happened in my life, good, bad, and ugly, has put me in the spot that I'm in right now. And, if I was to go back and change something, I wouldn't be in this spot. I wouldn't have had those experiences. I wouldn't have had that, internal growth within myself.
And you definitely wouldn't be standing there with those young men now.
Anything.
So that question would just be them asking someone else. That's what you'd be doing something else. So you think that would be the fireman or something? All right, Terrence, thanks for great talking to you. Any last words you want to give to any aspiring coaches before we hang up here?
Best experiences that I've had as a man is coaching young men. You're going to get more from them than you expect. They'll make you a better man, a better parent, just a better human being, because you want to be an example. And, we got a catch for, a hashtag that we use within our program, and it's called the trail. And we tell the guys all the time, walk the trail. And that's trust, respect, availability, accountability, investment, and love. And if you exude those things in your coaching, it'll exude in your life. It's going to bleed over.
All right, brother. Let's
and like I said, it's
3 years before we talk to each other again this time. Great having you on here.
Most definitely. Yeah, I was in your area.
Man, we're only 40 minutes
back in
away.
January of 2020. I was down in Nashville for the American Football Coaches Association. I think.
All right, just let me know you got my
I'm
number.
thinking it's
Just,
supposed to
shoot
be
me a
there
text. I'll
again
come down, want
this
some dinner or something.
January coming up. So I'll probably be back in that area.
All right, man. Great talking to you. Take care of the family and get them boys on to victory.
Okay.
No problem. Have a good one. That was great catching up with Terrence. Now for our second guest. When we returned from Kandahar, most of us needed an adrenaline rush to continue. Our next guest started the Italian football team and was looking for volunteers. They asked me to play, so I went out for a game. I was right outside the Post Stadium, and he pumped us up to play. I was the old guy playing but loved football, so I had a blast. I knew just listening to him, he had a passion for coaching and really understood the sport. I then watched him become a sergeant, go after his goal of attaining the coveted Sapper tab. He faced some obstacles through the course and in the unit. He learned a lot about himself in those times and has added those life lessons to his new career as a coach and soon-to-be educator. So without further ado, let's get Mr. Tim King on the line. Hey, Sapper, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, man. How's the weather down there in Hinesville?
Man, it is hit or miss.
The bugs out already?
Yes, the sand gnats are everywhere.
Well, I bet. I hate them things.
Yes, sir.
You already off work or you still have time to work?
No, we're on spring break this week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot George's later.
Yeah.
I think they did theirs about 3 weeks ago here in Clarksville. So.
A little backwards here, but it's all right.
You get the good weather and you got a beach not far from you, so
right. Can't complain too much.
Did you get the questions I sent you this morning?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. So if you're ready, we'll do a little pause and then I'll welcome you on and we'll get this thing going. All right.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, let's welcome Tim King to the show from Hinesville, Georgia. Tim, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, man. It's been a little while. I guess about probably 7 years since we actually seen each other face to face when I left Fort Campbell.
Yes,
so what
sir.
Did you up to?
Coaching. I got into coaching when I started at Fort Campbell, but so now I got a youth basketball organization. We do mentoring for all the males. I got a group of 7th graders. Things are going pretty well.
So tell us a little bit about your story from before you joined the Army, like where you grew up and what was your focus coming out of, say, high school and such into the Army, and then as you stepped out?
All right. Well, let's see. I was born in Washington, Pennsylvania. It's a little town right outside Pittsburgh, probably about 30 minutes west of Pittsburgh. My father, he was in the Navy. So I knew that I was always going to join the military. I just didn't know when. So we moved to Virginia Beach, Virginia, where he was stationed at Norfolk when I was about 2. From there, I stayed until I joined the military. Let's see. I fell into the wrong crowd growing up. So I didn't graduate high school either. I spent the entire 8th grade year. Well, let me backtrack. In the 6th grade, I failed the 6th grade. So that's when I really started getting in trouble hanging with the wrong crowd. And then as a youth, we decided to go to Kmart and steal some things. And I spent the entire 8th grade year in juvenile detention. So then I get to high school, turned around for a little bit, and I became academically ineligible. And there's this big article, and I still have that article to this day, sitting at my mom's house because I was one of the top rated players as a freshman. But then the big headline said Tim King, Princess Anne High School, ruled academically ineligible for the 2000-2001 football season. And that just, hurt me. So I didn't graduate high school. I went through all that stuff and then joined the Army in 2006, where I did 10 years and got out in 2016.
Okay. So do you think that that article you said you have at your mom's house, that would be something I would post on the wall, probably in my office as a motivator, especially teaching, mentoring 7th graders now. That'd be a mentoring thing for them. They look at that and say, look, he had his step back, but he was able to step up.
Most definitely. I'll definitely get it and frame it up.
As long as it's still in some somewhat good condition, I hope.
Right.
That's a long time to keep something, but I know moms have a way of keeping things like in perfect condition forever, so they can throw it back in your face later.
You know it.
So I knew you as a soldier, as a sapper, and I seen your resilience there. You went to sapper school a few times, never let it keep you down. You came back, head still high, angry that you didn't make it, went right back again, came back, head still high, went back, and you kicked the thing in the tail. Do you think that passion there was what has led you to be a passionate coach?
Definitely. And then, of course, I got too big for my britches and didn't really understand the Army. So, I went from E5 sergeant back down to specialist E4 as a tab soldier, which was unheard of at the time. So being resilient, it's always been in my bloodline.
So when you chose the Army, I guess you had to choose the Army because no one else would take a non-graduate probably at that period of time. But how'd your dad feel about that since he was a Navy guy?
He was so upset, but he wanted me to join the Navy and be like him. And I'm like, Dad, if a bomb went off while you're on a ship, like, you can't defend yourself. So I'm going to the Army. At least I have a fighting chance and a weapon that I can, get the enemy if they try to get me. But I told him I definitely was not joining the Navy. But he was okay after I joined.
Outstanding. So did you start 5th quarter athletics, or is that something that you were pushed into, that you were led into?
Yeah, definitely something I was led into. I with a group of guys here that had been coaching. So we just teamed up together. We were actually on opposite ends of the coaching spectrum as far as team-wise. And then they seen, I was okay at coaching, so we all joined and we came up with the name 5th Quarter Athletics.
So where'd that name come from?
So we voted on it, as in 5th quarter, everybody talks about, there's 4 quarters in football. We started out as football. And then, the 5th quarter, that overdrive. So we wanted to, excel, and we wanted kids to excel when it came to sports. So that's where we came up with the name, the 5th quarter.
Okay. So what's your target audience there? Is it just a lot of military kids, or is it a mix that you get on the teams?
Definitely a mixture. We try to take in anybody who's willing to come and get better. But we tell them, this is a higher level of basketball. It's not your rec center basketball. It's not your mid-level. We're trying to get to the top and play top-tier teams. So as long as you have a child that's willing to learn and get better, we definitely will take them and put them in our program. We currently right now have a 6th grade team, a 7th grade team, which I'm the head coach of basketball-wise. We have an 8th grade team, a 9th grade team, and an 11th grade team.
Nice. It's a good spread right there.
Yes, sir.
And you do, I think last year or 2 years ago, you were coaching baseball too, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you guys have a whole gamut of sports that you guys actually get into. So that's pretty good. You keep contact with the youth and make sure that they're, I guess, trying to get them to stay on that straight and narrow. Keep them as as motivated through sport and through your positive example to make them make good decisions.
Definitely.
So what's your biggest accomplishment so far since starting your coaching career?
I would say being named the Georgia State Most Improved Coach. I took a team. These guys are currently in the 9th grade. We were at the bottom of the bottom, and we made it to the state championship game and the Parks and Recreation, and I got voted the most improved coach of the state of Georgia. So that was 2 years ago.
Okay. And is that voted by fellow coaches or the administrators of the whole athletic thing?
The athletic directors of the rec department and coaches also get a vote as well.
That's outstanding. Congratulations on that one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I seen you won what is that tournament you won this weekend with your boys?
Yes, sir. We went to Columbus, Georgia, and we won the Easter Round Ball Classic tournament.
Okay. Seemed like that's a good Easter present for them. That's something to keep them motivated going into the rest of the travel season.
Yes, sir. Especially since 2 weeks ago we didn't win a single game. We went to the Icebreaker, which is a national renowned event that has the top tier athletes. LeBron James had a team in it. Kevin Durant had a team in it. Bradley Beal had a team in it. Chris Paul had a team in it. So, and these guys get kids from everywhere. So the best of the best. And we lost the first game by 31 to a real good Team Charlotte. They were very, very good. And then we lost the second game by 5 points in the first game and the last game by 1 point. So they were getting better as it goes on. And, we had never played top tier, high profile teams like that. And for them to come back out after that and come and dominate this weekend, what a great accomplishment.
So that weekend kind of served to them as like a kind of shock and awe. They went in there with the unknown and playing against, those teams are well-funded and well-staffed based on the names behind them. And you guys are basically a startup element right now. They're only a few years in operation with no big name backing you. So you guys just going in there grinding, and that you show them that their grind will get them where they have to go.
Yeah, and it definitely made them aware because, at first they were all nervous, like, oh, Coach King, all these teams are here. I'm like, man, we don't care about that. We're here to play ball. So now they finally realize that, look, we can play with elite top teams. We may not have beat anybody, in a couple shots here, a couple shots there. It would have been a different ball game. But they definitely now understand that, they can play and they are top tier athletes. And you don't have to be on a shoe program to be considered a top athlete.
Exactly. You need the mentality, the mindset to get you through that and not let the smoke and mirrors get you as you get into those big games like that.
Definitely.
Who have been your top 3 mentors through life, basically, and what's the best advice they ever provided you?
I would definitely have to say back at Fort Campbell, definitely. Then Staff Sergeant McKeithen, who's now a first sergeant in the United States Army. He was probably the biggest mentor because growing up, I didn't grow up around a lot of white men, and he took me under his wing, and it was just crazy to see somebody who didn't look like me treat me as if I was, a regular person, and he wasn't scared to discipline me. And in the Army, I feel like sometimes, leaders don't want to, feel as if, they kind of baby soldiers, and not want to get up on somebody just because, the color of their skin or anything like that. But Sergeant McKeith, oh man, and he wasn't a yeller. That was the biggest surprise to me. He was one of those leaders like yourself, that who just, you would tell us, I'm disappointed in your decisions. You wouldn't scream. You wouldn't do all that crazy jazz that most leaders do. You would talk to us. You would treat us like people and God. But his thing was never let someone dictate your mood. And that has stuck with me in everything that I do. Never let someone dictate your mood. You control everything, good or bad. win or lose, you control everything. I would definitely say good old Staff Sergeant Keaton definitely was a top tier mentor for me.
And when I started this job, I work on post now training soldiers. And one of the first units I got to go out and train was our old unit. And he was out there as first sergeant, and he had not changed at all as a first sergeant as he was as a staff sergeant. I just sat there and just smiled and laughed every time he would talk to them soldiers. And you see, just like you said, talk to them just like a dad saying, I'm disappointed in you.
Yes.
And you can see their heads drop, and they just go 2 bags full back into the breach. And it was great to watch that evolution of him from staff sergeant to what he is now.
Right.
Is there anyone else that was able to push you in the right direction?
I would definitely say then First Sergeant Davis as well. Now he's definitely a Sergeant Major. I knew Sergeant Major Davis from my time back home because we're from the same area.
Okay.
So he graduated from Green Run. I graduated from Prince Anne, of course, years apart. But I know a little bit about him, and he was he was just a master sergeant when he came to the company. And I had just lost my stripes, and he didn't know me from Sam, so he didn't even know who I was. He just got on that rotation with you guys. So he came in, he was talking to me. He was like, "Young Sapper, let's tighten up," and he just would talk to me every single day. And he didn't even know me. And I had just got my stripes taken. So, I was down in the dirt. I just was just like, man, forget this. I don't care. And he was like, look, I didn't know he was getting ready to take over HHC. So then of course I went from Alpha Company to HHC, and he said, look, man, you do what you're supposed to do. I promise you in 6 months, you'll get your stripes back. And I was like, man, that's bull crap. You're so full of it. There's no way you can promise me that. How do you even know? You wasn't even on the red carpet. Sure enough, month 6 came. He put me in. I went to the board. Month 7, I had them stripes back on. So that definitely struck, and I didn't know, he was, getting ready to be the HHC first sergeant. And, every day he'd pull me in his office and he would talk to me, and he would get on my butt, about being, you're still a leader. Just because you got your stripes taken, that doesn't take away your leadership ability. Stop acting like a private, like that's not you. So, he would always check on me. He would call. He would just, he would just treat me like that father figure, and let me know that, somebody cares. People still care about you. Doesn't matter what happened to you. People still care about you.
That's right. That's right. You got to give them that positivity and show that you may step on your stuff once in a while, but you're still a human.
Right.
You still got to get up every day, put your pants on, and strive forward. And you had all those traits, and like you said, you just hit that patch. You hit that little patch. You got a bit too big for your britches, I believe you said earlier.
Yes, sir.
But now you fit those britches, and you understood what you're wrong from right and what happened at that time. And in the moment, I'm sure you did not know, you didn't understand what went on or what you did was wrong. But as you have now aged, as we all have, you can understand. Looking back, you can see what happened and righted that ship, and you're doing great things now.
I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
So you're still in school, going for your degree while teaching, right?
Yes, sir.
What are you studying?
Early childhood care and education. I got 3 weeks, and I will obtain a bachelor's degree in early childhood education, which is crazy because I did not graduate high school. And like I said, I dropped out in the 10th grade. So to be able to go into the teaching field and become an educator is definitely a huge accomplishment in itself.
That's what I like to call a whole 180.
Yes, sir.
And you left the education system in 10th grade with a bad taste in your mouth from it, and now you're going to go back into it with eyes wide open to help the next generation.
Yes, sir. And
that's a great accomplishment, and I know everyone that knows you on the Misfit Nation is proud of you.
Appreciate it.
So are there any organizations that have helped you to be on the right glide path you are now?
I would say just there's a program down here called Bridging the Gap, and they do more of the mentoring side of things. And I always thought that was cool to see that. So I would say that just being around those guys and seeing how they react and interact made me definitely get into coaching as well, or get into the mentoring side of things. But I definitely think just joining the Army and being in the Army, being at Fort Campbell, where, leaders treated leaders with respect, and also leaders got on to other soldiers. I thought that was a great thing about us at Fort Campbell, was even though, this person was in HHC and this person was in Charlie Company, Charlie Company First Sergeant, she would get on us. First Sergeant Taylor would get on everybody. She didn't care who you were. If your boots were jacked up, she was on your back. And I just, I take that nowadays. People get upset at me, like, why you talking to that kid like that? Like, look, that kid is messed up. He messed up. He needs to know. Like, his coach, he hears it from his coach. But when he hears it from somebody else from the outside, then they start to realize.
Right. It's the same as like in your house. If you discipline your kid, they might look at you and roll their eyes. But if someone outside of that household tells them something, all of a sudden it's gospel, and they're gonna do it right that time.
Right.
So you're breaking down that wall, and you're right. She was pretty quick to pounce on people. She pounced on a few of my youngsters, and I was grateful for it. Especially when they'd go out there smoking and leave their butts out there, and she round them up. Yeah, she had no qualms with helping out. So if you can give someone advice as they decide to take the leap to become a coach or a teacher even, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, do not listen to the spectators on the outside or even the inside. A lot of people told me, oh man, you're not going to like teaching. Teaching pay isn't jack. The kids are just bad. They listen. It's just awful. And I currently work at an alternative school. I currently teach at an alternative school. And I wouldn't say that those kids were bad. I would just say that they just need guidance. And a lot of their issues is they can't read. So they're acting out when you tell them to do something because they literally can't do it. And I felt so bad because, I got in there and there's a lot of females teachers, and then they see that male, they're like, oh, snap. And I asked the class to read and they all just start flipping desk over. And I'm like, what in the world did I do? Come to find out, they couldn't read. So they use that as a way to deter doing work. And most children, you just got to find the root to the problem. So I would say that anybody who wants to get into teaching or coaching, go into it. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. At least you tried. But, I had to go in. I had the military mindset. I didn't graduate school, so I've been there. I went to alternative school in middle school. I, didn't graduate school, so I know what it's like to walk that, to get off that path and then to get back in. So I just feel like it's my calling to get these youth to understand that, you don't gotta, I mean, sports is a good way out, but you don't have to play sports to get out of your environment. You know what I mean? You can be a doctor, you can be a foreman, you can be a trash man. There's nothing wrong with that type of stuff. So I just think giving those kids that actual life experience and teaching them about life is what I'm all for.
That's outstanding. And I mean, that's great advice to those thinking about making that turn. They have that, I think, Army to teacher program or troops to teacher program. People can do that right out the jump, and you have to go right to the inner city and teach. And that scares a lot of people just from being in the military and having to go to, say, into inner city Detroit or inner city Chicago to teach. But I think if they listen to your words and say, I can do it, I just have to be that guiding light for those youngsters in that classroom, and maybe my voice will be the one that gets them out of that inner city later.
And definitely find the root of the problem. A lot of times, teachers try to just kick kids out of class or sit them out of class because they're a problem. And I found out, one of the kids here, their parents, their mom's boyfriend was just nasty to them all the time, all day, every day.
Oh man.
And he was always down on himself. I'm like, man, what's wrong? And then he was telling me his issues and stuff like that. And so it's just, these kids they need an outlet, and people are so quick to label them that we really aren't getting to the root of the problem.
Right. And sometimes it takes sitting down, having a Coke with them, and just listening. Just listen to them. They'll tell you. Kids will tell you everything. If you just listen to them. Some kids tell you way too much. I have to walk away from them, but
that's the God
they will tell you
truth. They tell me, I mean, from things that happen in their house to, you know, my mama smokes weed. I'm like, whoa, buddy, hey, I do not want to know about that. Like, they will tell it all in a heartbeat.
Pump the brakes, son. Pump the brakes.
So,
all right, Tim. It's been great catching up with you. Don't be a stranger. You know, you have my email. You have my number. You can reach out to me anytime you want to chat, or if you want to come back on and tell us about your success in the next tournaments or this next season, that'd be great to have you on here. Is there any links that people can go to see your progress, or how to get in touch with you about getting involved with Fifth Quarter
Definitely.
Athletics?
So if you follow us on Facebook at Fifth Quarter Athletics LLC, you'll be able to see the progress. And I appreciate you, Rich, man. It's been too long. I'll definitely keep in touch. And Misfit Nation, proud of y'all. And I will see y'all soon.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Peace.
All right, bye. Woo! That was a real good talk with both Tim and Terrence. They are both motivators and will continue to lead those young men to bigger and better things. I look forward to watching their careers evolve as they move forward, either at the next level or if they maintain at this same level of mentoring youth or mentoring young men in the high school arena. Great talking to both of you. So you know how we do this. Thanks for taking some of your time to spend with us on the Misfit Nation. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the share link as much as possible. We appreciate you. As always, till next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are the Misfit Nation.